Hi, this is Tammy. Another episode of In My Element, here in my Honda Element. Today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about the difference between a high achiever and a high performer in its most condensed, simplified form, of course. So, I had a conversation with a client of mine last week where we talked about the frustration sometimes we have in knowing we have a skill set, just trying to accomplish things and trying, and there's lots of striving, and there's not a lot of completion or follow through or a feeling of success. That even sometimes when we achieve something, there's that still that sense of dissatisfaction that it's not enough, or it's just not complete. It just never gives a sense of this continuous forward movement. You sort of achieve something and it's like, woo, and then kind of find ourselves sort of plummeting or stalling or things like that. So one of the things that I've learned recently through my high performance coaching program with Brendon Burchard company is that for me, I can simplify it in terms of being a high achiever is somebody with drive, with the ideas, with the skill set a lot of times, and the desire to do the things, to the ideas, the dreams, the stuff. I've always said, that I'm an idea person, but I'm not a follow through person. And those labels that I identified with was what I came to see myself as, that even from a little kid, just really, I don't know if I came out of the womb, ready to conquer the world, but I can remember from childhood and, middle school age and high school. And I've always had that drive to achieve and do more and be better and try to, prove to myself. And I think I was really trying to prove to everyone around that I was good enough and worthy and that kind of thing. And a lot of times that backfired, because then, as a high achiever, just always striving, you give the impression to people that you want to be better than them. And really what you're trying to do is say, hey, I'm worthy. I'm cool. Like me, And so for me, a high achiever is something I've always identified with, but I don't necessarily feel like it was a positive thing. It wasn't really driven by positive self-talk, positive motivations, things like that. That's another topic. That's a longer topic than this. But my client and I, we talked about the difference between high achiever and high performer. And so that's really what I've come to kind of get my head around in the last couple months, is that the high achiever has the dreams, the ideas, the drive, the skill, the desire, the whatever it is that makes us want to do the things. And a lot of times we are doing the things, but it comes with that dissatisfaction, frustration. So how do we become a high performer and move from that high achiever that is always striving and feeling that sense of it's never enough? A high performer has all of those qualities of intention and drive and creativity and all those things. But high performers, I feel also have clarity. And with clarity comes focus. And those two items, I feel move me personally from being a high achiever to more of a high performer. And so for me, a high performer comes with it that sense of lightness, that lift, that moving forward, that I'm not achieving, I'm performing. And performing for me feels like it's something that I can be doing regularly, as opposed to achieve and then not achieve, up and down. So clarity, getting clear on what we want. So those dreams, ideas, the creativity and stuff, really hammer down what do I want? What do I want for myself? What do I want for my career, my relationships, my health? And then look at okay, what am I lacking here? Is it a skill set that I'm lacking? Is it information? Is it community? What is it? What are the gaps there? that are keeping me from what I want. And once you've sort of got clarity on that, then, it's like, who do I talk to? Where do I start? Where do I find this information? How do I connect? And it becomes then a list of something you can work on. And as a recovering high achiever, that's amazing, because now it's like, okay, I feel like, okay, this is doable. It's not just an unknown, like, oh, I want to do this thing and I don't know, and I'm going to try this and I'm going to try that. It's becomes a little bit more of a formula. And then with that clarity, then you can focus, because now you've got your stuff to focus on. And absolutely, when I do that, it just spawns like more lists, because you realize that you don't know, like you're missing information or knowledge or skill set even more than what you thought, but that just generates more like opportunities to learn. So it's like, for me, doing these in my element, I knew how to upload to YouTube. That's kind of it. I didn't know anything else. I had no idea what I was doing. I still am learning, but I can honestly say that, it was a skill set that I identified that I had a lack in, tech knowledge, and I'm working on filling that, and it's something that is on my calendar every week among my other things. But so now that I have the focus on these items, then it's much easier to set boundaries. So a lot of people ask me, like, okay, how do I set healthy boundaries? How do I know what's a healthy boundary? And I think one of the ways that I find to be able to be confident and comfortable in setting my boundaries and holding to them for myself is this walkthrough of, I create clarity for myself. What is that I want? What do I need? How do I get there? How do I even start to get there? Make that list, itemize it, and then plan it in that, like, Tuesday at 8:30 till 9:15, I'm going to apply myself to working on this gap, this thing that I need to acquire, this knowledge, this skill set, whatever. Gives me that focus, gives me that drive then to commit to doing that thing. And so I've written it on my calendar. I've put it in my phone. I've put it down as an appointment with myself, and that is the focus. And that holds me then accountable. I'm way more likely to move forward if I have decided that for myself, and I'm focusing on this thing, that I've scheduled it for myself, and then I do the thing. And then, of course, when I've talked about it in other of these episodes, this reward system, right? So then I go back to my calendar and I circle it and I highlight it, and it pops out, so then every time I walk by it, I'm like, yeah, I did that. Oh, this week's been, lots of color in this week. I must have like really, met myself, in a good place, right? I've achieved. And there's nothing wrong with being satisfied with the achievement. Like, we're wired for that. We're wired for, like, click treat. We're like a puppy, and we really just it's okay to be like really satisfied with like accomplishing something. There's nothing wrong with accomplishment and being proud of your accomplishments. I think what is driving that can be healthy or unhealthy. So back to boundaries. So if I have my clarity, and then that brings me focus. And so then once I have my focus, then I can really look at my boundaries in terms of how I spend my time, what I say yes to, what I say no to. And I can then feel more comfortable, confident in my decisions for myself of saying yes or no to things. And I mean, yeah, there's times where I've said no to something and I'm like, I probably could have done that. Or most often in high achievers, we say yes to things and then we're like, oh, I committed to too much. It's too much. And then, we stretch ourselves too thin. We get a little bit, over our capacity. We start running on empty. It's very easy to say yes to too many things. So, that focus, I can look at going, okay, does saying yes to this like align with my intentions, what I've set out for myself? Does saying no to this honor, my goals and where I'm going better? And it doesn't have to be a deep, conversation with yourself, but it becomes a little more natural to kind of weigh things like, how does this align? How does this, fit in with what I've set out for myself? And we don't have to be rigid. Sometimes if I've like set aside a time, on a Friday afternoon, because that's my day off, where I'm like, okay, I'm going to work on this thing, and someone says like, hey, do you want to go to this farmer's market? Then I mean, yes, farmer's market, I am there. So then that fills my goal or intention for maintaining my relationships, building community, being a part of my local community, supporting local vendors, going with a friend, like all those kind of things. So it's not like I'm gonna say no to everything that I've if it interrupts my schedule or whatever, but I can then have that flexibility within my structure I've set for myself. So I think that for me creates more of a mindset and approach to my life as a high performer, which comes with so much more positive energy reinforcement that just resonates with me so much more. So whether that resonates with you or not, if it does, like it. All of us YouTubers, now I'm a YouTuber, we love it when you like and subscribe. It does tell YouTube that like, more, yes, more of this, yes please and thank you. So if you like this content, like it, send me a comment. I would love to hear it. If this doesn't resonate with you, thank you for listening. If you are still on this video at this point, thank you for listening. Maybe it's not everybody's cup of tea, maybe it doesn't resonate with you, and that's okay. Thanks for coming by. I'm going to leave you with those thoughts, and gonna take my car, my Element, to the hardware store, because this is where I'm off to right now. So have an amazing rest of your day, your evening, whenever it is that you're watching this. So difference between high performer and a high achiever, and just percolate with that a little bit, and have a great sort of like little thought project for yourself.